Good morning. Good to see you all here. Here we are with a bright, new, shiny year before us. A year that scares us in some ways, and a year that is filled with things that have never happened before. My name, Leanne Hart. I am your worship associate today. Pacific Unitarian represents progressive religious thought here in the South Bay. We welcome people of all creeds, races, sexual orientations, and gender identities. We honor the Tongva people on whose land our sanctuary stands. We offer religious education for school-aged children and childcare for preschoolers. RE begins after the story for all ages. I have a few announcements. First of all, our top chef, Margot, is inviting us to eat inside the sanctuary. Some tables are set up in the back for that after the service. But we do need to vacate the room, totally vacate by 1 o'clock, because they need to set the music up for the chamber orchestra that's going to be playing here at 3 o'clock. So you can come back in at 3. Okay. For those of you who are new here and want to learn more about possible membership, we hold a new members class on a quarterly basis. Our next one will be Sunday, February 11th. So put that on your calendar and plan to come and check it out. We have a healing circle and Zen meditation class that is held twice a month. Next one, Thursday the 18th, 6:30 here in the library. On Monday, January 15th, we will be having a special event on Martin Luther King Day. Our own Kiki Wiley will offer a free yoga practice and sound bath here at PUC. It will be held in the sanctuary at 10:30. It can be done from a chair or the floor. You don't have to be skilled. Okay, social justice will be meeting today in the library. And what else do we need to know? Our lunch program keeps packing lunches on Monday at noon for underserviced seniors. But there's a problem. They keep using up the food. So please help them out by bringing these following items are especially helpful: small bags of chips, applesauce cups, single-serving instant oatmeal, granola bars, and candy bars. Small. Thanks, everyone, for contributing to that. Also, there's another way you can contribute, and that would be with blood. There is an alarming shortage of blood right now, starting in December and January. So we need to help the Red Cross, and they come here periodically. You can just come right to PUC to donate blood. This Friday, the 12th, 10 to 4. Okay. Oh, and I did want to ask everyone here to think about whether or not you know someone who could do backup AV tech for Sunday mornings. So we don't, if we have our person is on vacation, we don't have to stop recording. Because there are people that watch every week, and we have around an average of around 30 people that tune in online. So we would like to be able to do that. So think if you know someone, they can come and talk to us about it. Okay, now is time for the chalice lighting. These words from Sarah Asher. May the light from this flame be a beacon of our faith in these days that can be dark and dreary. May the light from this flame be warmth to our spirits during the nights of restless searching. May the light from this flame be a celebration of the truth, meaning, and joy that we find within these walls.
Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see you all. An official Happy New Year. I wished you all Happy New Year last week, but I think we're actually in the new year now. So Happy New Year. We're gonna begin this morning by lighting a candle, a memorial candle in honor of Lori Geitman. She was a longtime member of PUC and a friend to many, and she was also a really active political activist, an activist for the Democratic Party and for democracy. She's gonna be missed by a lot of people here at PUC. She passed away on Friday at 90 years old. So we light this candle today for Lori. Our opening words this morning come from Pat Irby Lichty. We gather. We bring our sorrows, our disappointments, our failures. We gather for healing, for laughter, and to rejoice. We gather to find new ways of loving, new ways of thinking, new ways of being. We gather, yes, always we gather, for it is in gathering that we find our hope. We find our hope. We sing this morning our opening hymn, which is Where Do You Come From? And the words are in your order of service. It speaks of gathering to find new ways of thinking and being. So you're invited to stand as you're willing and able for Where Do We Come From?
Okay, we're going to take you on a journey with us. There are 4 different lines to this hymn, and it's typically sung like as a round type thing where different lines are going. So right now we're going to sing through all of them, and then the next time that we do it, I'm going to start, and anyone who identifies as male or has a lower voice can follow me, while Shayna will begin after I finish the first line. It'll all make sense once you hear all of them. But do your best, and honestly, just pick out a melody and sing it.
Let's do each line a bunch of times. Ready? And
So if you've always wondered what choir practice is like, you are more than welcome to join Severin on Wednesday nights at 6 o'clock, and you can have more of that fun and adventure. Here is Cara.
Hello. I'm Cara, and I am the coordinator of religious education, and it looks like I don't have very many children today. You're here. Hi. That song was, perfect for what I was leading into. I am, let me put this down, about to start, since it's a new year, going to start a new topic or new lessons with the kids about miracles. There's a Unitarian program on Tapestry of Faith about miracles, and planning on focusing on that probably the first half of the year, see how long it takes. So I guess just introduce it now, but I brought this book called I Wonder that I'm going to read. But as I was preparing just to think about how I was going to present a miracle, I decided I was going to search online and see what a miracle is. And miracles like God, I think. Everybody has their own definition of what it is or what it's not. So some people say that it's not a miracle unless it can't be explained by science. It's very narrow, and other people are like, everything is a miracle, life's a miracle, everything's a miracle, which seems to be more of a Unitarian thing, which I think is nice. So I'm going to start with I Wonder, just to get people thinking about, the world around us and getting curious and observing. I think that one of the most important things about miracles is noticing them, because we can just walk through our lives and not see them, like right in front of our face. And that's like the magic of life, and that's where we get joy, right? So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and, maybe I should go up here and read it since there's no children. Okay. Okay, I haven't used this microphone before, so hopefully it works out. Okay. Ava loves to look for the moon. It follows her from place to place, disappearing behind the trees, mountains, and then appearing again someplace new. Look, Mama, there it is. The moon looks so beautiful in the sky. How do you think it follows us, Eva? Eva thinks about it, but she just can't figure it out. It's okay to say, I don't know, says her mother. We don't know something. We get to wonder about it. I wonder if the moon and the earth are friends, says Eva. Her mother smiles. I like that idea. But Mama, how does the moon really stay so close to us? There is an invisible force called gravity that pulls all the things in the universe together, Ava's mother explains. Gravity keeps the moon close to the earth, and it keeps the planets close to the sun. They circle around like this. Ava understands a little better, but then she starts to wonder, Mama, where does gravity come from? I don't know, Ava. Nobody really knows for sure. And when no one knows the answer to something, it's called a mystery. A mystery is something for everyone to wonder about together. How fun. Ava imagines herself wondering about gravity together with all the people in the world. Ava watches the moon disappear behind the clouds as she walks, excited to see where it will appear next. How many grains of sand are in the whole world, Mama? I wonder about that too. There are trillions and trillions of grains of sand, but nobody knows exactly how many. Ava tries to think about all the sand in the whole world. It feels so big that I can't fit it in my imagination. It makes me feel dizzy, like I'm falling. I know what you mean, her mother agrees, and I'm sure other people feel that way too. Ava walks down another path, looking for the moon, and a little orange butterfly appears. Then she notices there are butterflies everywhere. Mama, where did all these butterflies come from? These butterflies had been flying around for a few days, but they started out as little caterpillars, and those caterpillars came from eggs, and those eggs came from one thing ending and another beginning. Things are always changing. Can you think of other things that change? Clouds and frogs, and me. There she goes. Later, Ava wonders, Mama, what was here before all the butterflies and frogs and clouds and before everything? I don't know, answers her mother. It's another mystery. I like trying to imagine what was here before the beginning of everything. What do you think was here? And Ava says, smiling, I don't know. She thinks about it for a long time, and then she has an idea. I wonder if there were feelings. As she walks home, Ava sees the moon again, glowing brightly above the roof of her house. Let's go inside and look for the moon through the window. We live with some big mysteries. When we come upon one, we're given a little gift. Every mystery is something for all of us to wonder about together. What do you wonder about? Thank you.
The time has come for us to light candles of joy and sorrow. As a community of caring people who are kind to each other, we want to know what has made you especially happy or what has made you sad. You are invited to come forward, receive a candle, and make a brief personal announcement, or simply light a candle in silence.
Hi, everybody. My joy, but also a little bit of a trial this week, was my dad had spinal surgery, but he came out well, and he's home resting well, so I'm really, really joyful for that. So, yeah, survived spinal surgery with my dad this week.
I light a candle for a very good friend who's in the hospital right now being tested.
I'm lighting a candle for my cousin's wife, Marcia Larson, who passed away on Thursday after a long illness.
I apologize in advance for all the people that are sick and tired of football, but I am joyful that my Michigan team is in the final college championship game tomorrow.
I light a candle for my wife who is currently incarcerated wrongfully.
After years of waiting, Carmen Brand finally received word yesterday that she is entitled to work in the United States.
That's so exciting.
My candle is being lighted with sorrow for Sue Owen, our member, who was hospitalized yesterday, and I was never clear exactly just what her affliction is. But I'm asking everyone to remember her in our meditations, and I'm going to talk to her again this week.
Well, my joy is I recovered from a gallbladder removal today, between Christmas and New Year's, and I'm up and at 'em. Now, my sorrow is this morning I just realized that Donald Trump is controlling the Congress. If you didn't know it, take a look for it.
I should have brought this up a couple weeks ago, but I had a meeting with the kidney transplant board or whatever, and they canceled it. So that was kind of scary. So hopefully they won't cancel the next ones.
And I'm going to light one more candle for all the joys and sorrows that remain in our hearts but are unspoken today. I invite you into a time of prayer with me. You might take a deep breath in, if that feels comfortable to you, and a deep breath out. Perhaps you want to close your eyes or at least soften your gaze a bit, letting your body come to rest in your chair. Perhaps putting your feet on the ground if that makes you feel stable. And you might take another deep breath in with me and out. This is a prayer from Sarah Lawal. Spirit of life and love, holy mystery, may we hear the voices of the past mingled with the voices of today, guiding us into the future, into our own becoming with purpose and principle, towards liberation for all people, with love as our common calling. Let us hold love at the center. Spirit of life, may we continue to cherish the earth with humility and reverence, honoring our place in the interdependent web. Let us hold love at the center. Spirit of life, may we celebrate all sacred beings, diverse in culture and theology, learning from one another and embracing difference in our search for truth and meaning. Let us hold love at the center. Spirit, may we keep reaching for belovedness, for diverse multicultural community, for collective thriving of all people, where all voices are heard, as we work to dismantle racism in all forms of oppression. Let us hold love at the center. Spirit, may we welcome transformation, seeking spiritual growth, adapting to our changing world, evolving in this living tradition, never complete, never perfect. Let us hold love at the center. Spirit, may we cultivate a spirit of generosity, of gratitude and hope, freely and compassionately sharing our faith, our presence, our resources, centering connections and relationships of mutual care. Let us hold love at the center. And finally, Spirit, may we always declare that every person has a right to flourish with worth and dignity. May we recommit to one another with our time, wisdom, attention, and money to build and sustain fully accessible and inclusive communities. Let us hold love at the center of this work. Let us hold love at the center. Let's take a moment of silence. Let us keep love at the center, now and always. Amen. I'm grateful to the Reverend Karen Johnson for introducing me to this poem by Yehud Amichai. He says, "From the place where we are right, flowers will never grow in the spring. The place where we are right is hard and trampled like a yard, but doubts and love dig up the world like a mole, a plow, and a whisper will be heard in the peace where the ruined house once stood." And because that was pretty short, I'm going to read it again for us. "From the place where we are right, flowers will never grow in the spring. The place where we are right is hard and trampled like a yard, but doubts and loves dig up the world like a mole, a plow, and a whisper will be heard in the place where the ruined house once stood." That is our reading this morning. Our hymn, our centering hymn this morning is number 55, Dark of Winter, and that can be found in your hymnals. And I think it's especially appropriate today as we're all listening to the cold wind blow in our sanctuary. I attended my first pain party in 2013 while living in West Virginia. No, this party probably wasn't what you're thinking. It was a celebration of the Revolutionary era thinker, writer, and activist Thomas Paine on Thomas Paine Day, a day that celebrates the hero of the free-thinking movement. The internet is a bit unclear on the official Thomas Paine Day. Humanists and atheist organizations seem to either celebrate it on his birthday, January 29th, or his death day, June 8th. A friend of mine from the local Skeptics in the pub group invited me to his party. He was a fan of Thomas Paine and liked throwing an annual Paine, P-A-I-N-E, party. I think he got some joy from the name, though. People gathered in his home and read passages from Thomas Paine toasting his forward thinking and radical thoughts. They read from The Age of Reason, his last work, that declared his extreme at the time stance against organized religion, and his deist stance at the time. They told the story of his social rejection and death, that only 6 people attended his funeral, his friends rejecting him later in life because of that anti-Christian worldview. It was a fun and lively learning experience. In the history of atheism in America, Thomas Paine's name is typically mentioned, along with other deists like Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson. Deism is the belief in the existence of a supreme being, specifically of a creator who does not intervene in the universe. It doesn't usually include a trinity or suppose that Jesus is God. Their rejection or critiques of the Bible and organized religion were the foundation that eventually led to a more clear atheist or non-belief movement in the United States. Paine says, "I believe in one God and no more, and I hope for happiness beyond this life. I believe in the equality of man, and I believe that religious duties consist in doing justice, loving mercy, and endeavoring to make our fellow creatures happy." He rejected the church because of its corruption and rejected the Bible because of claims of miracles. It's interesting to know that atheism as a concept, as the concept we know today, wasn't really a thing in Revolutionary era America. Even as folks proclaimed themselves rationalists or free thinkers, the radical religious idea at the time was to be a deist. They presumed that God existed because it was the rational answer to our existence on earth. Scientific discoveries at the time proved or needed the existence of a universal God or designer. It took until the 1860s for unbelief, as James Turner calls it in his book, Without God, Without Creed, The Origins of Unbelief in America, to take hold or to become a possible belief or unbelief system. I find this intriguing because as an agnostic, I tend to assume that unbelief or atheism has existed forever, and perhaps it has. But it wasn't really given any airtime until pretty recently. Turner attributes the rise of agnosticism and atheism to thinkers like Charles Darwin and his proponent Thomas Huxley, changes in science that didn't need intelligent design and could provide an explanation for our existence and our functioning without God. The timing, though, wasn't just about advancements in science. The Civil War ended in 1865. An article in The Atlantic talks about how religion and the fight against slavery became intimately intertwined. The Civil War, the article says, would require not only a war of troops and armaments, it would have to be augmented by moral and spiritual arguments that would steel millions of men to the bloody business of killing one another. It describes how Northerners in particular were bloated with this certainty by presenting the Union in absolutist moral terms. Northerners gave themselves permission to wage a war of holy devastation. But Southern preachers and theologians chimed in with fully as much fervor in claiming that God was on their side. A writer for the Southern Quarterly DuBose Review insisted that since the institution of slavery accords with the morality of the Bible, he said that it accords with the morality of the Bible, The Confederate nation should therefore expect a divine blessing in this great struggle. And then this aged Episcopal Bishop of Virginia, Robert Meade, gave Robert E. Lee his dying blessing. He said, "You are engaged in a holy cause." Christianity at the time was very much a part of the war on both sides. A war, though won for a good cause, that was devastating for the nation. Some theories say that it was no coincidence that unbelief took hold in an era when brother watched brother be blown apart by cannon fire and bullets. How could you believe in God when so much evil had taken place in the span of 4 years, and even for decades earlier? And then God was supposed to be on our side? Instead, it became more believable that there was no God to intervene and that humans were responsible for their own moral codes, good or bad. Perhaps the moral codes of humans might even be superior to the moral codes of Christianity that got used to justify slavery and war. I'll acknowledge that oftentimes in the face of mass tragedies, reactions can range from a return to fierce religiosity to an abandonment of faith altogether. Agnosticism, post-Civil War, in the era of Darwin, had gotten its start in America. Fast forward to the 1970s. We see the emergence of the Skeptics movement with leaders like Carl Sagan that promoted the use of reason in examining important issues. This was the kind of group I was a part of in West Virginia. The Skeptics group I took part in was made up of proud atheists and agnostics who came together for community. They embraced science with vigor and questioned anything without scientific proof. They weren't skeptical of everything, but instead asked for proof before believing. They supported organizations like the Center for Inquiry, which sponsors programs like their Investigations Group, which is a group that offers $500,000 to anyone who can prove a paranormal experience, testing people who claim to be telepaths or those who believe the earth is flat. They have yet to give away their $500,000 prize. I believe skepticism is important in our modern society. These organizations and movements are important voices that contradict issues like fake news and false claims about COVID-19. It can also be an important spiritual stance, a part of our free and responsible search for truth and meaning, our fourth principle. As I've mentioned before, there's also proposed changes to our principles, replacing them with a collection of values with love at the center. In terms of the proposed changes to our principles, the new Article 2 includes the value of pluralism, with the subtext, "We covenant to learn from one another in our free and responsible search for truth and meaning. We embrace our differences and commonalities with love, curiosity, and respect." As we are responsibly searching, skepticism means, and I'm quoting the Center for Inquiry here, the word skepticism comes from the ancient Greek skepsis, meaning inquiry. Skepticism is therefore not a cynical rejection of new ideas, as this popular stereotype says, but rather an attitude of both open mind and critical sense. Carl Sagan describes it as an exquisite balance between two conflicting needs. The most skeptical scrutiny of all hypotheses that are served up to us, and at the same time, a great openness to new ideas. Obviously, those two modes of thought are in some tension, he says, But if you are able to exercise only one of these modes, whatever one it is, you are in deep trouble. If you are only skeptical, then no new ideas make it through to you. You never learn anything new. You become a crotchety old person, he says, and I'm not sure I like that language. But he says you become convinced that nonsense is ruling the world. But every now and then, maybe once in 100 cases, a new idea turns out to be on the mark, valid and wonderful. If you are too much in the habit of being skeptical about everything, you're going to miss it or resent it. And either way, you will be standing in the way of understanding and progress. On the other hand, if you are open to the point of gullibility and have not an ounce of skeptical sense in you, then you can't distinguish the useful ideas from the worthless ones. If all ideas have equal validity, then you are lost. Because then it seems to me, he says, no ideas have any validity at all. I like that Sagan advocates for balance here. In our world today, some conservative movements headed by people like Elon Musk have taken the banner of something like skepticism and encouraged people to mistrust everything, to mistrust institutions and health data, to mistrust our leaders and elections to the point of insurrection. There is no balance in this worldview, only mistrust. I like instead a view of skepticism that encourages us to question things and inquire critically, but also to be open to new ideas and new truths. Our reading today from Yehuda Amichai, an Israeli poet who wrote often about war and conflict. He questioned a lot the price of war on the people of Israel and on himself. He reminds us that doubt and questioning are important. If we think we are right, we have not room for change. Just as Sagan says, we have to be open to times when something valid and wonderful comes into fruition, open to new understandings that change how we view the world. Beloveds, many years ago, theologians and scientists and thinkers slowly changed how we might define our religious beliefs, opening up room for different views of God and even for unbelief or agnosticism. Deism and subsequent theories of evolution gave us an opportunity to think beyond the Christian worldview. We are at the beginning of 2024. We are moving into a new year, a year with wars still waging and elections on the horizon. I was in a group on Friday where folks shared their fears and hopes for the new year. Many people mentioned elections and the ongoing conflicts in the world. As we move into this new year, I ask you to stay skeptical. Question your beliefs while also advocating for important values like democracy, science, and love. I also ask you to be open to change, to seeing things from a different angle, of accepting new truths as they come into being. This balance is important as we enter a new year. May it be so. Amen.
Now is time for our offertory. You know, the offering that we take each Sunday is not just a stale habit. It is an opportunity to recommit to this place and these people. Our offering is an affirmation, a yes. When we give, we say yes to something we value. With our gifts freely given, may we say yes to the values of our faith. May we offer help and practice Unitarian Universalism within and beyond our congregation as tools to empower our mission.
To
Our closing hymn this morning is another New Year's hymn. It's number 58 in your hymnals, and you're invited to stand as you're willing and able for number 58, Ring Out Wild Bells. And you're invited to stay standing and maybe connect to someone next to you if you'd like, or you can give yourself a hug or stay seated. That's okay too. This church is dedicated to the proposition that behind all our differences, beneath all our diversity, there is a unity that makes us one and binds us forever together. In spite of time and death and the space between the stars, we pause in silent witness to that unity.
May the blessing of love be upon you. May love's peace abide with you. May love's presence illuminate your hearts now and forevermore. So be it. Amen. Shalom, salam, namaste, and blessed be. And now our service truly begins.
And if you'd stick around for the postlude today, Shayna has a song for us.
This is rather famous. You're probably gonna know it. But just so you know, I'm a prepubescent boy. Yeah, and I'm having a lot of feelings. So yeah, don't let the Italian confuse you. I'm having a lot of feelings. And I'm asking these ladies, the donne, to help me out and try to explain them to me. But apparently they're not helping because I keep singing.
Thank you, everyone. You're invited to have lunch with us. If this is your first time among us, lunch is free. Otherwise, it's $5 as always. And